If you have bad knees, then take a look at me standing up from this chair real quick. Can you see the 3 big mistakes I'm making that are killing my knees? Well, if you can't, I'm gonna show you in this video the 3 keys to healthy knees. And don't worry, it'll be a breeze. Hey there, I'm Coach Tyler from WeShape, where our goal is to teach you movements to help you feel better in your body. And achy knees is such a common thing that people suffer with. But very few people are teaching people how to protect your knees doing movements like standing up from a chair. And today, I'm gonna go over the 3 keys to healthy knees. So we're gonna break this apart one by one, starting with the foot, then focusing on the knee, then focusing on the hip. Now, if you take these 3 keys to healthy knees and apply them to all the movements you do in your daily life, whether that's walking, standing up from a chair, going up and down stairs, they're gonna improve the health of your knees, protecting them, making them feel better, and strengthening them all at the same time. So let's dive on over to key number 1. The first key to having healthy knees is understanding the weight distribution on your foot. Now, what I mean by that is this. When you stand up from a chair, if too much of your weight distribution is forward on the toes instead of through the heels, you're gonna be putting a lot more pressure on the knee joint rather than the hip joint. And so in that video we shot in the beginning, what you'll notice is I'm coming forward onto my toes as I stand up. Again, putting the majority of the pressure here rather than on the hips, which is where we want it. So instead of standing up and shifting your weight forward onto your toes or doing any lower body movement where the majority of the weight is forward on your toes, if you have unhealthy knees, make sure that the majority of the weight is on the heels. Ideally, 70% of the heels and 30% split between each other side of your foot. And what it'll look like is this. Instead of the knees coming forward and the weight coming to the forward of the feet, you're gonna drive your heels on the ground and you're gonna bow a little bit more forward from the waist in order to counterbalance. And when you do this, you're gonna take the pressure off of your knees and put it more on your hips, which is gonna make those knees feel so much better. The second key is making sure that your knees go the same direction as your toes. Now, in the squat that we showed you earlier, what you'll notice is that the knees cave in as I stand up. This is a really common movement dysfunction called the valgus collapse, where your hip internally rotates on the way up. When you do this, you take the knee joint, which is a hinge joint, meaning it's only supposed to move like this, not from side to side or twisting, and you go from side to side and twist. So instead of standing up and watching your knees wobble inward like this, what we wanna do is we wanna look down and make sure that if we took our thigh bone all the way out through our knee and we drew a line out like that, we would look down and that line was coming straight out through the middle of our feet. So take a moment right now to look down at each knee, make sure it's going the same direction as the toes, push the weight in the heels like in key number 1, and as you stand up, look down and make sure these knees don't wobble in. If you notice them wobbling, that's okay. That just means you need to practice this movement and focus on pushing the knees out, activating these muscles so that you can actually do this with good form without those knees wobbling in. Just move slow and controlled as you're practicing this, making sure the knees are going the same direction as your toes. And once you get this habit down, well, then you can move on to key number 3. The third key is making sure that you're actually using your glutes. The muscles of your quads are strong, but the muscles of your glutes have so much potential to be significantly stronger. And so you'll notice in that video, I shift my weight forward onto my toes and I keep my torso rather upright. When I'm doing that and I'm pushing through my toes and keeping my torso upright, my quads are doing the majority of the work on this movement. So instead of just having the quads, we want the glutes to fire more as well, because when we fire the quads, it has a tendency to pull the kneecap down, and for anybody with knee pain, this can actually cause lots of knee pain. So instead of bringing our weight to our toes and then extending through our knee like this, we want to keep the weight in our heels, and we want to extend through our hip like this, feeling the glute muscle the entire time. So to do this, put the weight in the heels, make sure the knees are going the same direction as your toes before you stand up, then bow forward from the hips and drive your heels into the ground. Now, before even standing up, as you push those heels on the ground, you should notice your butt muscle starting to fire. If not, imagine again that you're trying to drive your heel behind you. This motion right here of hip extension is what the glute does for the lower body. So drive the heels in, feel the butt muscle, use the hands for counterbalance, and this time as you stand, focus on this muscle doing the majority of the work instead of this muscle doing the majority of the work. This may take some repetitions and some practice, especially when combined with making sure the weight's on your heels and the knees are going the same direction as your toes. But if you practice diligently, every time you sit down and every time you stand up, you'll start to convince your body to do things this way. And when you do things using the 3 keys to healthy knees, they're going to feel good instead of feel bad. All right, there you have it, the 3 keys to having healthier knees. Now, if you want to come back to this video over and over again to remember how to do this with good form, then please do. Because the more you practice moving your body better, the better you end up feeling in your body. Also, if you like the way that we describe how to move your body the way it was meant to, well, then you'll love trying out our We-Shape workouts. Every movement is a bodyweight movement that you can do from the comfort of your own home, designed to help you build strength, flexibility, balance, and coordination for things in your daily life. The goal is to help you feel better in your body and give you the movement freedom that you want and deserve to be able to go through your life for as long as possible. So if you want to check out We-Shape and give one of our workouts a shot, click the link below and I'll see you there.